Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Behind the Quota with Sherif and Hassan. Today, we're joined with Matt, who is currently a sales leader at one of the fastest growing startups in the world. Matt, it's a pleasure to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome here, Matt. Well, me and Matt actually work together. He is actually my reporting manager, direct manager, and he's actually one of my favorite managers I've ever worked with. If not, he is actually my favorite manager. So sorry for all my previous managers hearing this, but he is, I will say this is my favorite manager. But thank you for joining today's podcast and giving us some time of your day to kind of have this chat with us. As Sherif mentioned, you are a sales leader, a sales manager at one of the fastest growing SaaS startups in the world right now. And for the viewer who doesn't know what a sales manager entails and what you do on a daily basis, if you mind sharing a little bit about what is your day-to-day in terms of kind of what work do you do, what is your goal every day, and just kind of add some flavor to that.
Yeah, for sure. First off, thanks for having us. I think every day is different as a sales leader. I think first and foremost comes your people. If it wasn't for your people, you wouldn't have a job. So being able to manage your time effectively, staying organized, being a strong, effective communicator are a few keys to my success. And like I mentioned, every day is different. You got to be adaptable. You got to be creative. You got to be resourceful, and you got to be able to handle what curveball can come next. So my average day typically starts before the regular 9 to 5. I think to be an effective, successful sales leader, you have to prepare and manage your time effectively. So, before the regular 9 to 5 starts, I'm already running reports. I'm getting slide decks built. I'm getting communication sent out. I'm getting, pipeline forecast drafted, whatever it might be. So that when the 9 to 5 does clock in, clock out, I'm there for my team and I'm effectively helping them get bigger, better, faster, stronger every day.
And would you say most of your day-to-day involves internal meetings or external meetings? And if there is a ratio you can share as well, that would be helpful.
Yeah, it's a blend of both. I would probably say right now, currently, it'd probably be about a 60-40 mix, probably about 60% on the front line with my AEs directly, with clients, partners, so on and so forth. And then the other 40% would probably be internal calls, strategy calls, forecast calls, people management calls, that type of stuff. So as of right now, I'd say that's a split.
Yeah.
And Matt, what was your journey like into sales? Why did you choose sales as a career path, and what got you into tech sales as well?
Yeah, I'm a big sports guy. Played hockey and lacrosse growing up. I think having a competitive nature to who I am is something that has gravitated me towards sales. On top of that, my dad, my grandfather, my aunt were all very successful sales professionals. My dad retired as a national sales rep for one of the largest plumbing fixture companies, and then my grandfather was VP of sales for Canada for one of the largest chocolate companies worldwide. And just seeing them be able to have the autonomy, the ability to kind of do what they want in their free time and have the luxury of treating the people they love with what they want to do was important. So I thought, you know what, why don't I give it a try? So I was advised at a young age to just get a job to go start talking to people, serving tables at a restaurant. So I got a job at a restaurant, was serving tables, learned the basics of just how to have a conversation with people, how to upsell desserts, how to upsell,
Nice.
no one ever wants a
The
coffee
earliest
after,
signs.
nobody ever wants a coffee after dinner, but if you could sling coffees after dinner, it's a couple extra bucks in
You're
the
in.
shit, right?
Yeah.
It obviously makes a tip bigger. And then from there, since I love sports, I got a job at a retail sporting goods company, selling hockey and lacrosse equipment. Love that. I think that was a true point in my career where I actually got to sell something and build value on why something is better than another item in the store or whatever it is. Of course, people are coming to you for it, so it's a little different. But you learn the basic grassroots of being able to have that conversation and sell something. And then I always had a dream of being a sales rep for a sporting goods company. That was like the epitome. Like the dream is like, I want to sell hockey equipment or I want to sell sporting goods. And my boss at the time at that retail sports store said, man, like everybody wants that job. I wanted that job too, but there's only so many people that can do that job and so many openings for that job. So he gave me the advice back then is like, try to think of something that people need.
Yeah.
More of a need in the world. And two examples he gave randomly was go sell windows, go sell payroll. And from there, I went and did a stint for about 6-7 years at a company in the consumer packaged goods world. That's where I actually, took a lot of ownership. You essentially are given a territory and you got to go generate revenue. That was better than last year's revenue, whatever it is, right? So I went in, did a really good job there, worked my way up to leadership there, and then I had an opportunity to get into the tech world through a referral and through some people I knew at the business. So I thought I'd take that person up on that opportunity. They came to me and said, "Hey, I think you'd be good for this role." Didn't know anything about selling technology, got in the role, and I was actually outside the typical mold, the profile of like what they looked for. But I think I showed a lot of strengths of work ethic, creativity, curiosity that they gave me a chance, and I was at that company for a really long time, and now I'm at the company I'm at. So
Nice.
that's really the journey that I've gone through to get to where I am today.
And would you say you were passionate about what you did in terms of getting into sales? Or did you feel like you took the angle of competence better? Because I know there's two different angles for a lot of people.
Yep.
Some people say you should be following your passion because that's when you won't feel like you're working. And other people will say, well, do something until you're competent at it and then passion will follow. So which angle did you feel like you went in with?
Yeah, it's almost like a nice to have versus a must have in sales cycles, right? When you ask your prospect, hey, is this a nice to have or is this a nice must have? I think the must have is the competency piece. Like you have to be competent at what you're doing to be successful. And I think the nice to have, aka the dream, is like doing that with competency in the passion role or industry or whatever it is. That's the perfect world.
I see.
I learned that out. I learned that it's not always possible. So I defaulted back to the competency piece, right?
Yeah. And now you'd say you're passionate about
Now I'm passionate.
Now you'd say you're in it for the love of the game.
Of course, yes. And I think there's a lot of transferable traits and skills, but also objectives when it comes to the world of sports and the competitive nature of sports that translates directly into the sales environment.
And Matt, it's one thing to be a good sales rep and be very successful in the area of selling, but what got you interested into leadership? And what was that transition like? And did you always know that leadership was something on the horizon for you?
Yeah, great question. I don't know. I personally, I feel I was always a leader throughout my life, right? Whether that was, with a group of friends at school, put my hand up to, do something first, or put my hand up to pick a team for something, or lead some shape or group of people in some direction or some shape or form. And then that leading up to, into sports, I always had a letter on my jersey. And I always, one of the things that my dad taught me when I was younger is you might not be the smartest in the room, but as long as you can outwork the other person, you'll be okay. So I think work ethic is a big piece of that. And when other people see that work ethic, it's contagious, and they think, oh shoot, like that guy's going to outwork me. He's going to get to the finish line faster than I am. I gotta pick it up. So I think that's one of the biggest for sure.
Okay, perfect. And do you feel as though you would ever go back to the independent contributor side of things? Or is this something that you're like, I'm set into leadership, I want to grow my career from this point onwards into a leadership route? Or would you ever have that, I guess, fear of missing out? Like, I'm sure there's a lot of reps out there that are crushing it from like the compensation side of things. Like they're making like a shit ton of money because of their position as an independent contributor. Have you ever kind of had a
consideration or thought?
Yes.
Of course. I think we're all human at the end of the day. You're always peeking and open the door and, asking someone questions about, their experience, their learnings. I'm pretty set on leadership. That being said, you never know what tomorrow brings. And if there's an opportunity out there to go back to key contributor role, it's not something I would turn down. It's not something I'd say yes to right away, but it's something I would consider. But I'm pretty set on leadership as where I am right now in my career.
Which one do you enjoy more? Selling or leading a sales team?
Leading a sales team. Yeah. I like building. I like, getting the right puzzle pieces in place to get to the end goal. And at the end of the day, as sales managers, sales leaders, you're constantly selling every single day. Not necessarily to a prospect, but you're selling internally. Yeah. You're selling up and you're selling down.
Yeah, perfect. Well, appreciate you for answering these questions. And now I feel like we can get into the actual main focus of the interview here, which is going to be, or I guess podcast, which is going to be, you sit at a very strategic position and angle to an SDR who is wanting to break into a career, into AE and closing roles, because that's the first checkpoint they need to hit, which is an SMB sales team, an AE team, and an AE at a SMB segment team. So that's where our main conversation is going to come around. And I guess my question to you here, has there ever been a moment or a funny story or a memorable story during the interview process where something's occurred that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, thinking back to my time at a previous company, I remember getting an email late at night saying, "Hey, we got the green light to double headcount." I didn't know what to think about that, to be honest. I had no idea it was happening. It was a decision that was made behind closed doors. And as frontline leaders, me and the other 4 leaders, we had to, adapt and we had to react to that. There's one way to look at it with the glass half empty. There's another way to look at it with the glass half full. I think, glass half empty attitude is like, oh man, this is going to create a lot more work for myself. I didn't sign up for this. This isn't a hiring mill. Like, I want to develop my people and hit my number. But when decisions are made at some companies, you don't have any influence in that decision. And as a frontline manager, you have to adapt.
Right.
And I think it's very important you see that glass half full. I think looking at the other side, there could be layoffs, right? Do you want to deal with laying off half your workforce, or you don't want to deal with growing half your workforce, right? So that was something that I got to say was probably the craziest thing I've experienced in my career as a leader, where overnight we got told we had to hire double headcount. And man, oh man, we had to assemble a team, a process, cohorts. And not only do we have to hire all those people, but we had to onboard all those people. We had to ramp them up. We had to make them successful and give them the tools and all the resources. And it got to points in time where like there just wasn't enough time in the day to be able to accommodate to everybody, because there was just that amount of sheer volume that was in front of you. But it was exciting and learning experience that I'll take with me the rest of my life.
How does that affect your leadership when you're going from managing a small number of people to now double that? How do you adapt as a leader in order to accommodate all these people as best as you can?
Yeah, right off the top, it takes your focus away from what matters, right? Which is developing your people and hitting your numbers and your targets.
Yeah.
Now you have this variable plopped into your everyday that's like hire. First and foremost, your main priority is hire. Mm-hmm. So I think being strategic about how you spend your time, I think working a little bit more, I don't know if that's the right thing to say or not, but as a manager, sometimes you got to put a little bit more time in.
Yeah.
And I think the better you manage your time, the less extra time you have to put in, if that makes sense, over the actual hours of working hours. But in my opinion, if you truly love what you do and you have a passion for what you do, it stops being labeled as work.
Yeah.
And it starts being more labeled as life,
mm-hmm.
right? I think none of us in this room are fortunate enough to be the 1% that don't have to work. So I think it's very important you do something that you love, right? And you like. You shouldn't wake up any morning thinking, oh man, I got to go to work today, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody's got to work, but you want to do something that you like to do.
100%.
Right? So.
And when they threw that at you right off the bat,
yep.
Were you frustrated? Do you feel like, oh, like I didn't sign up for this? Or
of course. Yeah. Right off the top, you're like, man, this is something added to my plate now, right?
Yeah.
But again, as a frontline manager, you have to be adaptable. You don't know what curveball's coming next. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. And the ones you don't know, you have to be resourceful, right?
Exactly.
And I think it's good at the end of the day, in the big picture of things. But of course, in the day and in the moment, it's a strain. It's like
like looking back at it, it looks good. But
yeah, exactly. In the time, it's like, oh man, we got to do this. Like, is there someone on their team that can hire all these people for us while we can worry about our own job? No.
Yeah.
Right?
Because you got to cherry pick them.
And talking about getting bigger, better, faster, stronger, managers every day don't get that opportunity to be able to be put in that situation. Mm-hmm. And I say opportunity on purpose. Because if you were to ask me, hey, do you want to come in this role, do this job, and have this added on top of you? Most people are going to be like, no. But since I was put in that situation, I look back at it as it was a hell of an opportunity to be able to develop and learn some skills, because you never know. You might be put in that situation again.
You want to kind of train that reactive muscle when things like,
what did I do in that time when I was at that company when we had that situation?
Yeah.
Right.
And any funny moments at all, or things that you just like remember from people joining an interview and that you can talk about? Yeah,
I think the one that comes to mind is like, since the remote work days, COVID, a lot of people working from home. I just think like first impressions have not been as serious nowadays. Yeah. One example I like to give is like when someone shows up to an interview and they're wearing a hoodie.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean?
That is diabolical.
Could you ever see yourself walking down on Bay Street for an in-person interview?
Absolutely.
For a tech company in a hoodie?
Absolutely not.
Or going off camera. It's like, imagine you're in a boardroom and you're just like, okay, I'm off camera. I'm not here right now. I'm not present in the conversation.
that doesn't.
Right? So there's two things that, are I guess funny in my mind with interviews, is like people that think they can just wear what they want to wear to an interview and jeopardize their goal, which is landing a gig. right? Because first impressions mean everything.
I'd say it's like borderline disrespectful.
It's almost borderline disrespectful, right?
It's like,
and it's not to say I'm wearing a suit and tie. That's not what I'm getting at.
yeah, but just gotta be presentable. Like, come on, like
Right.
a hoodie in an interview is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, how are you gonna make an impression or a statement? And I'm a very big advocate about, and you probably know this, me coming into the office, I'm always like wearing suits or really like overdressing, and it's not for anything. Number one, I want to be confident in what I wear, but at the same time, it builds a personal brand.
Exactly.
You're being portrayed as someone serious enough, or you take this role seriously to put the effort to wear something nice, even though nobody else does, right?
Bingo.
Yeah.
And back to, are you taking on more responsibility than what you have to on your everyday? Is this guy that I interviewed wearing a hoodie, is he thinking about it that way?
Probably not.
No. Just going to take an interview. No. Take on responsibility to execute that flawlessly.
Correct.
Which means prepare for success and show up, dress for success.
Agreed.
Right?
100%.
So
do you look for leaders when you're hiring people? Is that something that you put in the back of your mind? Can this guy, if I, for whatever reason, cannot work today, can this guy fit in for me?
Yeah, I think it all depends, Sherif. I think it's a very fluid situation when you're managing a team. If you're hiring somebody, typically they're filling a hole from somebody else, or it's a net new headcount. So when I'm interviewing candidates, it's different every time we hire somebody. And anytime the team demographic or the team matrix changes, there's usually a hole to fill. So maybe I promoted a leader on my team and I have to fill that hole. Of course, I'm going to look for someone that has a little more leadership traits in them. If maybe I lose a rock star that has no interest in being in leadership, got promoted to the next segment up as a key contributor, I want to go find out that next top pedigree talent, right? That someone that doesn't care about leadership. So I think it's subject to kind of where you're at with your team. And I think knowing your team and knowing what your team needs based on, demographic, based on backgrounds, experiences, all that, what they want to do in the future, you got to balance all that. So depending on when and how you're hiring and who's left and who's still on the team, that's going to help you decide on what traits you might look for more versus other candidates.
Question here then, in a sense where you're building a team with different personalities, right? Different traits. Why not, as a sales manager, it's to your best interest to maybe hire a team of all rock stars who are hungry, who don't have any leadership skills, but they'll get the job done and they'll crush it. Are you against something like that? Or what is the mindset about hiring someone who is filling different roles, different shoes?
I think every hiring manager would hire 5 rock stars for 5 spots if they could.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the reality of most situations. But I also think there's good and bad that come with that, right? I think there's more animosity, more let's call it friction when it comes to sales professionals who thinking they're the best. There's going to be 5 of them that think they're the best, and only one person can be the best. That being said, I think it comes down to a lot of the personality traits, right? You need a balance. In my personal opinion, you need a balance that is going to help everybody contribute to steering that ship. Does that make sense? So, of course, I think in a perfect world, we'd all love 5 rock stars that all get along, that all come from different walks of life and all have different experiences, but they're all rock stars. That's a perfect world, right? But if you have 5 rock stars that all came from similar industries with similar backgrounds and experiences, there's going to be friction.
Yeah.
Regardless, right?
Michael Jordan would probably not get along with another
5 Michael Jordans in one room, I bet you any money they would not all leave that same room.
No way.
All the same way. 5 Hassans in the same room, same idea. 5 me in the same room.
The room
right?
might shut up then.
Right? And that's why I think having a blend of people with different strengths and weaknesses and different traits is very important. Yeah. Right? So you want to have a mix of people that want to get into leadership because there's going to be holes to fill in leadership. You want people that are going to be top pedigree sales reps that are rock stars, be able to hit the number every month and be able to fill holes that are going to open up in key contributor roles up segment.
And what would you say is your biggest mentor or someone that you feel as though you take a lot of inspiration from as you continue evolving in your style of leadership? Yeah,
I would say I have a very much so coaching style leadership. So roll up the sleeves, get in the trenches with my direct reports. I think the first person that comes to mind would be like, and another sports reference here, but Scotty Bowman, right? Yeah, Scotty Bowman is a well-respected, successful leader within the NHL Hockey League. Not only does he have a proven track record, but he was a guy that was in the trenches with his team all the time. And not only did he prove himself and build that rapport with him and his team, he also developed a legacy for when he moved on. So he made sure he had the right leaders in place on his team as his journey was coming to an end and to take that torch on, right? So Scotty Bowen would be one. But yeah, other than that, I would say my dad.
And I would definitely agree with that. You definitely show those traits as well. Like just being on your team, you're always there with us in the front lines. You're always, helping us whenever needed. You're not, kind of you're leading the sled with us rather than just sitting there, just kind of having it being pulled. And like you're always taking things off of our plate when you see that we're like slumped for time and we don't have time. So like I definitely
Absolutely.
I definitely see that.
You got to lead from the front.
Exactly.
Right?
100%.
So,
I think now it's just a perfect transition to just go into like talk about the SDR.
Yeah. Let's do it.
So maybe start.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, and Matt actually sits in a perfect position, which is the bridge between, so let's say if somebody's an SDR and they want to get promoted into an account executive role, he's basically, I don't want to say the gatekeeper, but like he's the decision maker behind that transition, because if you wanted to get into an AE role, the SMB AE is the first.
Typically the first step.
Typically, there's some organizations that have different.
SDR might go into mid-market or enterprise sales, but typically
SMB. And so I'm sure you've experienced a lot of SDRs trying to break into the AE role, whether internally or externally even. So I guess this is what we wanted to transition this conversation to, but just giving it back to you, Sherif, there.
Yeah, no, my first question is going to be, are there some warning signs that an SDR that is perhaps hitting their numbers might not be the best decision to go for when hiring an account executive?
If they want that account executive role. I think there's early signs and signals. I think first and foremost is brand. I think no matter what, you have to have a good brand, right? And what I mean by that is you have to make sure that who you are as a person, who you are as a sales rep, and who you are as a top performer at that team. Everybody knows who you are. They know how you act. They know how you conduct yourself. They know you are in good with everybody sits at that table, right? So, you're respectful. You play fair. You're honest. All the stuff that natural human beings should have, right? So you want to be able to build a good brand for yourself. I think outside of that is performance, of course, right? But you were saying if it's an SDR that is hitting their number. So I would say, brand is most important. If there's someone sitting at the table that is involved in that hiring decision that you do not have a good brand with, say goodnight. It's not happening. Okay. You have to make sure you get a green check mark around that whole table, right? So that's why it's so important. It's vital that you have a good brand with stakeholders, right? Whether that's your own manager, a hiring manager, a director that oversees that new division, whatever it might be, right? And how do you do that? You got to go get to know the people. Your brand with someone else, there's already a brand, whether you've spoken to them or not.
Yeah.
They see, hear.
They've heard of you. They know
perspectives, point of views from other people.
Your impression. What
it's
impression?
up to you to change how they think of you. So
like perhaps from an SDR perspective, for people that are listening that are SDRs, kind of like the quality of meetings that you book.
Yep.
Or the way that you communicate with your account executives.
Yep.
And I think you mentioned a very fair, very good point, is like playing fair, because some people will hit their quota, but perhaps they're doing things that are a little bit, on the gray area side, and that could build a reputation of.
For sure.
Exactly.
I think there's two keys in this, right? And then this is what I look for when I speak to SDRs that are looking to make the jump is organization and communication. Two huge key components of being, one, a successful SDR, also a successful AE, but also that helps build your brand. If you're not organized, people will know that. Are you late to meetings, right? Are you sending follow-ups a day later, right? Are you on time? And then organization too, right? And then on the other side, communication, right? Do they communicate effectively, right? Do they have polished emails that they send? Do they communicate with their AEs effectively on a regular cadence? Feedback, right? Close loss notes, all that other stuff.
Are they well spoken?
Can they articulate? Can they build value? Do they do more outside of their job now than what their job title says? And if they do, they're probably trying to work towards getting that role. And the hiring leaders will see that.
Have you ever been surprised with perhaps you signed someone that was an excellent SDR and they maybe not performed as well as you thought they would at the account executive role? And were there any traits that you could perhaps looking back say, oh, it makes sense why they didn't succeed?
Yeah, not at my current company, at a previous company. There's, at a previous company, we had like inbound sales and outbound sales. So the inbound sales were more inside sales reps, they were AEs, but they had to prospect. They had to do basically the role of an SDR and an AE blended into one, pick up the phones, a lot of inbound stuff, right? So I think seeing people get promoted from that role into outside sales, there's a lot of growing pains, right? Like you're sitting behind a computer 9 to 5 all day long in an inside sales rep role. Then now you're moving to a relationship managing role with partners and have to work for your own referrals and get your own business. There's a lot of growing pains there, and some skills that person has in that current role doesn't necessarily translate to that outcome of the next role.
That makes sense.
Right.
And I guess another question I had here would be, from an interview perspective, when you're talking to an SDR, what exact things are you thinking about in terms? Okay, so I'm sure when you're interviewing an account executive versus an SDR that's trying to get promoted,
Yep.
you're probably looking at certain things from an SDR level that you aren't in on an AE level, because it's like, well, you've already proven yourself as a closer, you've had sales process experience, this, that. What are you looking for if you were to even consider hiring that SDR? And maybe let's assume it's an external hire. And so you don't even really know their internal brand as much.
Okay. I think first of all, I'd be looking at the element of curiosity they have. Like, are they asking good questions? Do they genuinely want to learn, get bigger, better, faster, stronger? I think that's something that you can find out real quick. Outside of that, I like asking people, like, we all have to work at the end of the day. We're not that 1% of people that can afford not to work every day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So with that, you got to enjoy what you do. Right. So I would, I would make sure that I ask them, why do you choose to wake up every day and do what you do right now?
What's your why?
What's the why? What's the end goal?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, money. We're all sales professionals. We
Yeah.
want to make a lot of money. But like, what are you going to do with that money? Just going to sit in a bank account? You're going to invest it?
Yeah.
You're going to buy a condo? Buy a yacht? What are you going to do? I want to know.
And why do you want to buy that?
I want to know.
Yeah.
And if there's not conviction on that why, this person just wants another job because they think they're just going with the flow. Well, this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to go from SDR to AE. Is that really the why?
Mm,
And if it is,
not easy.
not for me.
No.
From an interview perspective, because that's something I always find interesting. How can you tell as a manager if this person is going to be coachable or not? And I get the idea of as an applicant, you have to ask the right questions. And if I'm showing that I'm asking the right questions, it shows my curiosity. But that coachability aspect, I almost like struggle to understand how people can tell if someone's coachable or not.
Yeah, it's funny. This doesn't work all the time. But I will tell you, when it has worked, it has checked out. A lot of hiring managers hardly look at resumes. I'll be honest with you. They skim through it, highlights.
Hear that, guys?
Keywords.
No,
right?
no.
Hardly look at resumes. Okay, they're going to look at your LinkedIn. One thing that I look at, and more so now, especially from the coachability piece, is there's one section of every resume that like doesn't mean much. I'll be honest with you, but it's like volunteer experience, right? Extracurricular stuff they've done, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have they led like mini cohorts in high school or university with study sessions or initiatives? Those are the people that are doing more than what is expected of them.
Mm.
And if you're doing more than what's expected of you at that early age of your career, your life, in high school, through sports, through extracurricular activities, it shows that you're coachable because you want to learn, right?
You're hungry.
You want to take on more, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to be a part of this group. I want to be a part of that initiative. I want to take a lead on this. So just seeing those, like, and a lot of people don't even put them on their resumes anymore, but like Lions Club, Boy Scouts, like all these little things, like that's silly examples, but like all the little things that are in that section of the resume actually do speak a lot of words. And that's stuff that you can ask about too, right? And when you start asking about those experiences that are nothing to do with the job, but their personal life, that's when you can start to get a lot out about the coachability,
I think that's a gem right there.
right?
No, that's a gem. Yes,
Because
100%.
the hiring managers don't look at, okay, they'll look at your current role, they'll look at how long you've been there, they'll look at the transition time between your last role, and then they'll interview you, right?
And none of what's in the bullet points. Like,
Bullet point, no, man.
because like
182% attainment, great.
We
great.
all have 182%.
Great. I can put that down there too. Do I have a way of fact checking that? I don't. So I got to take it for what it's worth.
Yeah.
What are some other things in that resume that I can actually learn more about and pressure test?
What if someone actually put 80%? Would that now make you feel a little bit more curious as to, wait,
This guy's telling the truth, maybe.
the guy's telling the truth? So like,
Yes, but it also is like, the question would be like, what happened?
yeah. But then maybe they can twist it in a positive way.
For
like,
sure.
Yes, I got 80% because I realized X, Y, and Z went wrong.
100%.
And I feel like now that works on their favor
Bingo.
more than it would have if they put 182, 700%.
Bingo.
Yeah.
And I feel that would come up in one of the questions I ask every single one of my candidates.
Yeah.
I think I asked you this question too,
You did.
is give me 3 reasons why I won't hire you.
I love that question.
Right?
That question.
It stops everybody in their tracks.
I was like,
Deer in the headlights. And most people, I'll be honest with you, don't answer the question the way I expect it to be answered. The question is meant to be a mirror. Have you looked yourself in the mirror recently? Right? I don't care who you are. If you're the richest person, most successful person in the world,
there's something.
you still have an opportunity to get better at something. No one is perfect.
Accountability is what
Right?
you're trying to.
And most people will default to, well, the reason
much.
why you won't hire me is because you saw I finished 80% in 2016 at this company.
Oh Lord, no.
It's like, no, that's not. Why? Now let's dig deeper into there. Why did you finish at 80% of plan? What went wrong? What would you do differently? Right? Versus the right answer to that question, in my opinion, is, you know what? I've lost the last few deals at the negotiation stage. I feel as a sales professional, I need to work on my negotiation tactics and strategy. What I'm doing now, because I've identified a problem in myself, I'm reading books. I'm listening to podcasts. I'm meeting. I have a mentor now. I'm sharpening my axe in this little piece of the sales process that I need to get better at. And Matt, that's one of the reasons why you wouldn't hire me. Gold.
You just turned whatever was
Gold,
supposed to be used,
right?
Yeah.
But 95% of people don't do that because they think they're just the best.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks they're the best, right? So if you could ask that question, why wouldn't you hire me? There's no reasons. Right away, not gone.
I also, like, just to push back a bit, I don't think everyone thinks they're the best. I think everyone is scared to not look like they are the best.
Yes.
Because hiring between me and Hassan, I closed 150%, he closed 100%. He feels now that he needs to, like, impress you in a different way. Exactly.
For sure. And I think that was outlandish. Like, not everybody thinks they're the best, but sales professionals in general,
they're competitive.
Very confident, competitive. I'm better than the next guy, right? So I think
you'd be surprised too. Like I've heard some very funny candidacy stories where some folks are like joining these calls, like, oh, I'm interviewing you for this position, for joining your company. Like, they flip the whole thing, and it's like, sure, confidence is good, but then when you get to a point of arrogance, that's when you start like losing points on that. It's like, who do you think you are? Like, I'm still hiring. I'm going to be paying you. Like, you're not paying me for this role.
Yeah. But to that point, if you're good enough and you do deserve that role, you have every right to ask those questions.
Yeah.
Right. It's a two-way street.
It is.
Right. So.
But it's like.
But I do understand what you're saying. Right.
It's
that hiring manager can get turned off real fast.
Yeah.
Right. If you do rub them the wrong way in the sense of that nature. Right.
It's like when you say customer experience or the sales experience of like the buying process, right? It's a similar situation where I am the product and you are potentially buying me. You're evaluating a product to purchase.
Correct.
I want to make your buying experience the best. So if I am now hard selling you on myself, telling you I am the best product in the market and just yapping my way away, like myself away, you're going to be like, this person is talking so much to recompensate, or his confidence is hiding something that I don't know about.
Yep.
Versus if I'm more down to earth, more genuine as an applicant, well, now you're like, okay,
100%.
well, he's a human just like me. There's gaps, there's stuff like that. And funnily enough, just going back to that question you asked, when he asked me that question where it's just like, give me 3 reasons why I shouldn't hire you. And then like, I've never been like thrown off my guard so hard during an interview, but I remember the answers I gave you. Where the first one I said, it was, I get too emotional during calls, or not calls, during like sales cycles, which is true because it's like sometimes highs and lows. Like, and you can see that now as well. Sure. Like, I get a lot of happy years, and I need somebody to tell me, oh, wait, relax, like, or like
this guy tells me another deal's going to commit.
That is the thing. Every single time, it's just like, and then it's like trading on leverage. Every single time there's a deal on the table, it's like I'm putting 1,000 leverage in it, and it's like going up. But if it goes down, I'm like plummeting with it as well. And like, you're gonna see me around the office.
By the way, I know like half of his deals because that we always talk about.
It's like, I'm so excited this is gonna come in. That's gonna come in.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, no. Thing is with me, I love the game, right? Yeah. I generally get my paycheck, I take it from here, and I throw in those accounts, RRSP, TFSA, whatever it is, and I just ignore the fact that I just made this big lump sum of cash. For me, I care about like, and you probably know this, like recognition, like progression, doing good, like knowing that I'm improving at least 1% every day.
Yeah, that's it.
And it's a very like surface level, like some people might see this as a corny answer, like, oh, like, yeah, of course, yeah, you're telling me you don't care about money. Of course I care about money.
Yeah.
But it's not even about the money that I care about. It's just, I can make as less or as high of, I mean, as little or as much as money as I can right now,
Yep.
it won't make as much of a difference to me as much as it would be if I see I'm improving, I'm getting better.
100%.
Because I'm just such early on in my career, I can't afford to not make as much money.
Yep.
Like I don't have family to pay money for, like to pay bills for, or kids to send to school or things like that. Of course, I have some responsibilities. I still need to care for my family, my mom,
For
all
sure.
of that. But it's just like I can afford to take a pay cut.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And I think some people are scared to do that, especially this day and age. Right?
Yeah.
You got to know your worth, right? I think that's one of the things I was thinking about before coming on the podcast was like, if you don't know your worth, you're getting taken advantage of,
100%.
right? And you have to balance that with your confidence, right? If you're confident and you know your worth, go get it.
Yeah.
Go get it, right? Don't settle for mediocrity. And another thing I'll add to that is like, and I've experienced this myself as a key contributor, but also as a leader, the second you feel the job is getting easy and you can do it more efficiently, it comes easy to you. It's on autopilot. You need a change.
You need a challenge.
You need a challenge. And that's when you should be starting to look for that next role.
Do you see that a lot? Do you see that happen with people where complacency starts to creep in
100%.
once they're hitting their numbers? Because obviously I know I've watched so many athletes growing up where they hit their goals one season, they score 30 goals in the Premier League, and then the next season
they get their big paycheck and
they're not there anymore.
Yeah.
And how would you advise people to perhaps deal with that? Like if I'm killing it right now in my role and things are like I book meetings like that. How can I as a BDR or even as an AE challenge myself?
Yeah. Well, you've obviously proven the model, right, for yourself, right? Tried, tested, proven it. The first piece of advice or suggestion I would give is like, try to think back to what you were doing when you were successful, right? For a sports athlete, let's say, were you eating healthy? Were you treating your body right? Were you going to the gym? Were you exercising, doing your physio, whatever it is, right? As a sales professional, it's more sales process stuff, right? So were you doing enough pre-call planning?
Yeah.
Right? Did you build enough rapport? Did you do a deep enough discovery? So on and so forth. So I think I would first think about, I got to get back to what I was doing when I was successful. Now, let's just say you do that and you check all the boxes. Like I'm doing everything. Maybe I'm even doing more now than I was then. I'm still not being successful. What's going on? That's when you got to change something. You got to try something new. And that's the best part about sales in my mind. So of course, we got playbooks, right? We got processes to follow. We have expectations and the way things should get done and what great looks like. But at any point in time, at a limb, you can change what you're doing. You have the ability and the autonomy to say something, do different, whatever it is throughout a sales cycle. So if you want to try a different angle with a pitch, you can do it. If it works, run with it. If it doesn't work, you get an opportunity to try something different. So I think, to answer your question in a short form is like, try to think back to what was making you successful, what you were doing for that input to get your output when you were successful. And if you check that, if that checks out that you were doing everything the same way, you got to try to change something up.
What about if it's like a mindset thing?
Yeah, like how would you reignite the fire?
Yes.
Like there's a fire that when I come into a new role, I want to kill, I want to be the best here.
Yep. And I've proven myself.
But now 6-7 months in, a year in, I'm the number one on the leaderboard. How do you stay the number one? Because we always hear that saying, it's easy to climb the mountains, very hard to stay at the top.
Yep. I think it all goes back to the why, right? I think if you've accomplished what your why was, then all the power to you, right?
Yeah.
Right. You should rightfully be complacent. You've achieved what you wanted to achieve.
You got to the peak of the mountain. There's nothing much to climb.
But the why should not be that achievable.
Yes, exactly.
Right? It should be more of a challenge.
Shoot for the stars, aim for the moon.
Exactly. So I think anchoring back to that person or that sales professional's why and reiterating that and showing glimpses of them being able to get there with X, Y, and Z, I think is important, right? So I think people can lose thought of the why and they get caught lost in the shuffle on the every day to day, right? And it's easy to get strayed away from the actual core why and just blend it into hit my number, right? So
100%. And I think as well as that, a lot of people sometimes when they answer the why, they might have a great answer, right? They might have a perfectly clear-cut answer, but they didn't share in a very genuine, convictional way where it just like actually convinces you that that's a true why, not kind of made up. For example, you can say, what's motivating me, my why is making money so I can buy a house, so I can support, let's say, my immigrant parents or something like that.
Yeah.
Sure, That's a reasonable why.
That's your why right now, though, right?
Yeah,
What about in 5, 10 years?
Exactly.
Why
What
it's
if you
gonna
achieve it?
change?
Because a condo is not just something you can get.
Kids are
okay,
going to come in the picture, and then that maybe
Yeah.
is the why now,
Yeah,
right?
and let's say if your why is to support your family who worked really hard for you
Yep.
or something like that, well then, okay, you've supported them. Now what? So it's just a
You moved them here. They're in a house.
They're in a house. They're getting spoiled by your
Right.
paychecks. Now why?
Now what?
So what? Now you're gonna just sit back and relax, and now you can hit your 70%, 50%, and call it a day.
Yeah.
That's why it's like, okay. For example, my why, honestly, I think this is probably my deepest why, and I've actually just hinted at it recently. I really want to be famous. It's a weird why, but I really want to be famous, doing something. I don't know what it is, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's through this podcast.
That goes back to your original why as a kid, though, right?
Yeah.
You always wanted to be like a
Animator at a
animator.
Pixar.
Yeah.
Exactly. And sometimes I even consider acting, right? Like whichever venture takes me to that why,
Yeah.
whether I'm like.
That's why he likes the courtside seats so much. Eh?
Yeah, no, literally. Let's just start getting a big board.
In LA too, right? In LA. Yeah.
But I feel like my grandma actually called me 3 weeks ago. She was like, yo, I was just watching this young kid on TV. He's the guy that was from Aladdin, the live action Aladdin, doing an interview. He's Canadian too. And he's famous and he's an actor. Didn't you say you wanted to be famous? What's happening with that? And that looked like kind of shocked.
Yo, grandma's holding me accountable, man.
I'm like, yeah, like I get there. Like, I don't know which angle I'll take.
But each sales professional needs a grandma like you
Yeah, they do.
to anchor you back to your why.
Yeah.
What did that do to you?
That was like, okay, that realigned me. I'm like, you know what? Like, maybe this is the venture I'm going on.
Maybe
like,
it is.
Because the thing is, like, all roads need to lead to your why, regardless of what it is, even if it's just your career. Like, I'm in sales, right? Now I've started a sales career podcast that might at some point get me to the level where now I am famous because this goes viral. And then, you know, it's like, and if it wasn't for sales, then I wouldn't have gotten that. And so like, I can give you such a deep why now that you'd be like, yeah, you know what? Like, there's no way you just thought of that right now.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's really about
Very
how
methodical.
Be very methodical. When you share your why, actually share it to the deepest level. And if you're a very surface level, average human, you know, who doesn't have any really big ambitions, dig deep. Like, before you go into that interview, think to yourself, okay, do I just want to be normal and that's it? Like, yeah, that's what I'd say.
What's your why, Sherif?
Yeah, what is your why?
I was the opposite of it. I wanted to be like, you can even ask him this. I wanted to be a UFC fighter when I was in my late teens.
Cool.
I was studying jiu-jitsu and I was training wrestling, and even actually before I got into sales. And he can attest to that. So I moved to Toronto and I was just training every day, going to the wrestling gym.
I was like, you're not looking for a job, man?
I was, you know what I was going to do?
I don't need a job. I'm going to be a UFC fighter.
I was like, what's
I was
going
going to
on?
work construction and just train all day and then try to follow that dream, which is why I became so thankful for sales when I got into it, because it was the only kind of field that made me feel like I'm playing a sport again.
Yes.
It literally made me feel that way. And you can ask him, it's like there was like a complete shift in my personality once I started working.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, like I'm so thankful that I found something that in the corporate world that actually works for me. Because I'm a business student kid. Like I was meant to take the route of like going into consulting and investment banking. That's like what my dad wanted me to do because that's what he did. But when I got into here, I'm like, damn, like this is the game I like. And I think I'm a little bit similar to you in the sense where I do want to be a sales leader one day. I really want to lead a company one day and be successful. My why is make $1 billion, but not in the sense of so that I can have so much money in the bank. It is more of like, I want to build something that is so valuable to the world that you can like put that monetary value onto it. And
you want to leave a legacy with the $1 billion you make.
I want to leave, that's what I want to do. It's not necessarily for
you want to be
money.
known about the guy that made $1 billion. You want to be known about the guy that what he did with his $1 billion.
Exactly. Or not even that. Like I built something so big that it had this big of an impact in the world that it was able to generate that much money.
Because if you don't die remembered, you never existed.
Yep.
That's a bar right there.
Like 100%. I've never, like, thankfully, like knock on wood, my dad never made us struggle with money. Like I've never had that necessity to just go out there and earn as much money as I can so that I can fulfill a childhood dream of wanting to be rich. I lived a comfortable life. But once I got into sales, I'm like, okay, like I feel I feel like I kind of belong in this circle of people, and
for sure.
I'm around people that have same ambitions as me, and I want to grow into that.
Cool.
Well, that was a quick bathroom break there, but going back to what we're talking about, we're talking about our whys, we're talking about what really motivates us as individuals to succeed. So now I want to flip it on you.
Yeah.
What is your why, Matt?
My why, it's a lot about family, to be honest.
Yeah.
Growing up as a kid, I was fortunate enough to go down to Florida every year as a kid with my family to a condo. And I remember childhood dreams, right? Going down to Florida every year, packing the car up, driving down there with the family, sometimes bringing friends down and other families. And then on the other side, that's what we used to do in the wintertime. In the summertime, we were fortunate enough to have a cottage up north. So spend a lot of time at the cottage. It's really where I see myself retiring one day. So my goal, my why, is to be able to provide the same for my kids or even more. I want to make enough money to be able to provide that same thing to them, but maybe get that outside of North America a little bit. My dream is to own a little villa in Spain.
Vamos.
Yes, have a little property up north to be able to cottage and enjoy time up there. There's just something about the northern air and the lake water up there. So yeah, my why is to be able to provide to my kids and my family the same or better than what I got as a kid.
That's very nice.
And that's
very wholesome why.
Yeah.
And I guess, would you retire in Canada or out of Canada?
If
you had to bring,
Spain, has to be in
like
Spain.
If you were to take,
if I could finish my career working at a villa in Spain,
yeah,
that would be my first choice.
Okay.
With my kids there.
Or maybe your kids,
Post-secondary.
maybe they're grown up, they go into doing their own thing as well. So you and your wife.
My wife comes from a very traveler's background. She's been all over the world,
Nice.
Egypt, Peru, all over Europe. And I think something that we want to do as parents is make sure we get them exposed to different cultures and different areas of the world, right? There's so much to explore out there. And I think not enough kids are fortunate enough to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And that's why I want to be able to
100%.
try to provide that for
Makes
my kids.
them very well-rounded. And this also funnels into their life for all aspects.
Exactly.
Because when they meet people from that aspect, they can relate to them. Oh, I'm from here. Oh, I've had this from your country. I've visited this country. I like how you guys do this.
Yeah.
You're much more informed, much more educated.
We're very big on experiences, right? Like you can give somebody a gift. They're going to forget about that in 15 years. You go do an experience with somebody, they're going to remember that forever.
Forever.
And we just got back from an amazing ski trip out in Quebec, and my kids, I think, will remember that for the rest of their life. You know what I mean? It was something that was just, it felt magical. You know what I mean? And
100%.
that's the same kind of thing I want to do long term.
100%.
So.
And I guess going back to the interview conversation and talking a little bit more about interviews. So let's say if you were hiring for your team.
Yeah.
I'm sure your opinions on who to hire and who to select is the highest priority because, well, you're hiring them into your team.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's other higher up leadership that are on the executive level or even higher that might have a say in who gets hired and who doesn't. How common is that for somebody to kind of come in and NATO your decision and say, don't want to hire this person, let's hire that person? How does that kind of make you feel as a leader?
It makes you feel kind of, obviously you got to see it with both lenses. You got to see it from the leadership view, executive leadership view, but you also got to see it from your frontline manager view. What I've learned is that we don't have, as frontline myself, we as frontline managers don't have as much experience as the next person that is maybe making that decision or making that angle, right? Speaking of that angle. So I think you have to take that as advice, as suggestions.
Not personal.
Not personal. It's nothing to do with you. It's based on their experience, based on how many candidates they've interviewed. This is their reason. Versus your reason, which is not nearly as much experience. You haven't seen as many candidates as they have. You probably haven't had as many learning lessons as they have. So if you can take advantage of someone else's learning lesson when it comes down to hiring, why wouldn't you take advantage of that,
100%.
right? Is it going to work out every single time? No. But I think taking that person's opinion goes a long way.
Is there a percentage of pushback, or is there ever like periods where you're like, I feel like I need to make that decision for my team to be successful?
Yeah, for sure. I think back to selling, right? Like you got to sell the reason why that person is the first person you want to hire. Because someone else in the business might have a totally different POV, totally different mindset on that person.
Of course.
And you have to build a good enough case on why. And at the end of the day, you got to die on that sword too if it doesn't work out, right? So,
has there ever been a situation where you were, I guess not forced to, but like you were influenced to make a decision you were hesitant about, or your gut feeling was telling you, no, I don't want to go with this candidate over that candidate, and then that's backfired? Has there ever happened? Like, has it ever backfired, or?
Yeah, I would say so. Not at the current company I'm at, but at a previous company, we had a very certain profile we look for. And some recruiters at the time thought, oh, if this person fits this profile and they have the same background and same resume, they should be a turnkey fit. Doesn't work out all the time, right?
Mm.
Back to the people, back to the person, right?
Yeah.
The human nature of things. Everybody's different.
Yeah.
Two people can go work at the exact same company, do the exact same job, and have two totally different results.
Yeah.
And also feel differently about what they're doing every day.
Yeah.
Because they're two totally different people.
I see.
Right? So I wouldn't say it's backfired in the sense of like completely negative, but it's backfired in the sense of like, after it's all said and done, you look back and say, hey, like,
Should have hired that person.
should have hired that person. Or maybe we should have done this. That would have,
Guess we'll never know.
would never know. Right? So
Do recruiters ever push back at you? Like, for example, because I imagine recruiters kind of like an SDR, but for headhunting.
yeah.
And like, what if they've brought you a great candidate or who they think is a great candidate that you've rejected? Do they push back and like, oh, this qualifies?
It's actually hiring right now. It's actually happening right now.
Yeah.
At my current company where I turned down a candidate one of the last two candidate cycles ago. And not in the way that like, I don't ever see this person ever getting hired. I turned them down because there's someone else better during that candidacy, right? And now we have a new candidacy open, a new rec open, and it's, hey, I want to circle back to that person. And there's pushback there, right? Because the recruiter has to now invest their own time to go back and screen that person, have another conversation with that person. They're probably thinking like, I've already talked to this person. What am I going to say? The hiring manager wants to talk to you again? Probably, just as simple as that. But I think recruiters can overthink it sometimes, right? At the end of the day, you are asking somebody to do something that they need to do. And if they feel against that decision that you're making, there's going to be pushback naturally, right?
Okay.
So yeah, it's happening right now with a candidate that, you know, I want to give a second chance to, right? People get nervous, people get uptight. Some people aren't on their A game for every single interview.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And going back to the human nature of things, we're human. It's going to happen. And I think having the ability to be able to go back to someone that really wants that job shows that they have a very strong why,
Okay.
right? So if they're going to get rejected from a job and reapply,
Makes sense.
send some good signals, right?
I want to ask you a bit of a hypothetical, kind of like fun question. Do you feel like there is any other way that companies can hire people with like a different interview process or testing people differently? So I always say this to Hassan, he's like, because sometimes I'm not like, I hate interviews. Not that I hate them, but like it's not my cup of tea.
You know, it's just it's like a formality.
Yeah, I
right?
know it's a formality. And he's like, he always tells me, he's like, what do you want to do? I was like, I just want to get scouted, as if it's soccer or something. Like, watch me, like watch me perform.
Let me send
really
you some
well.
game film.
Yeah, exactly. I wish it was like that. Do you feel like the interview process that's being done right now in the corporate world is the best way to go about it? And is there how creative would you be, and how would you want to like?
With the access to technology and the ability of remote work, there's multiple different ways that, in my opinion, you can run an interview cycle, right? I think every single company records every single sales call. Of course, there's confidentiality on those sales calls. I think there's also other tools and resources that candidates can leverage, but also employers can leverage to change what that formality looks like. I think the interview process has been stagnant for how many years, probably, right?
Yeah.
Since the printer days, right?
Yeah.
The Xerox and Canon days, we're interviewing people the similar way that they were interviewing people back then. And the world's changed, right? So I don't know what that is, but where my brain goes is more of like a portfolio style, where you submit proof, right? Conviction of you doing X, Y, and Z is one element of it. So providing. And then I think the second element of it is like, okay, come in, let's see you do the role. And at a previous company, that's actually one of the stages in their interview process.
Trial.
Is not only did you have to knock out 3 interviews, 2 one-on-ones, a panel, and a presentation, but then you got to actually, before you're hired, you got to go spend a full day in field with a successful sales rep and walk the shoes that they're walking in every day. And guess what? Now that person that you go spend that day with is a stakeholder in your interview process. Because guess what they're going to be expected to do? Give feedback to the hiring manager and the recruiter
Champion you or
on
not.
how your behavior was that day, how your attitude was, were you engaged, were you asking questions? I think a blend of like providing a portfolio to prove and show some work, but then also actually physically do it in person. I think there's an opportunity to evolve the interview process for sure.
100% agreed. Imagine if they did it again. I don't think it's will ever get to that extent, but like you were saying, you know how in sports teams, like there's trading, free agency, stuff like that. Okay, like imagine
Under contract kind of thing. Yeah.
yeah, like that'd be kind of like a cool way to do it, where it's like, we'll send you our top. Here's the data to see how top performing they are. So we'll send you these
Here's a
guys.
stat line.
Yeah,
3 BDRs for your AE.
So for this
Then he
one
passes
AE,
medical.
Yeah. Conditional offer. Like, that is so funny. That's like, would you be opposed to something like that?
Well, companies would essentially put people on waivers,
Yeah.
right? Say, hey, you're still employed, but you're open to be scooped up, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe it's
I don't ever see the world of employment doing that, because like,
But do you see the perspective that you said? Maybe like it evolved into
100%.
like show me your portfolio. The same way like any videographer gets hired is like, show me what you video before.
Right.
So why can't we do
and
it?
then
as
come film this bit. I want to see your work.
Exactly.
Right? Live.
Exactly. Why can't we do it? Like I feel like there's definitely room for improvement there.
Yeah.
Where in the sales world, like here are the deals that I've helped close.
Yeah.
Here's me on meetings, and I'll come in and do a trial at your company. And if I get the job, I get the job because you see me perform.
100%. I think there's ability for the world to change that way for sure.
But I don't know about like 3 interviews, a panel, and on
It's a
top
lot.
of that, that's kind of
It's a lot. It's excessive.
It's like I feel like at that point, if I don't get the job after doing all of that, it's like you have to recompensate me for all that time. It's like, what had just happened now? But no, if you really, again, it will differentiate people who are really hungry for it.
Bingo.
And who aren't. Because if I'm willing to go through all of this, maybe there's going to be some complacency after I get the job, but hopefully I vetted you enough to make you go through all of that and make sure that you're not going to be complacent after the job.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. But sometimes I feel like some organizations, they dangle the carrot in front of you so much to the point where they feel like it's,
leading on a bit,
where it's like, yeah, come do this stage and then do that stage and then do that stage. And then it's like, when you get the role, it's like, oh, if you don't do this, you'll get that. And it becomes a situation where it's like, okay, the candidate themselves is going to be like, all right, I see that this carrot is being dangled. Like, but
on the flip side though, like going back to, some of the points I made about like SDRs moving in the AE roles, like doing more than what your job is now, asking for more responsibility. That's the exact same thing as an interview process that you have to do a mock call with, you have to do multiple interview rounds with. You have a job right now, you have a 9 to 5, and now you're stacking this on top. How are you handling that?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Can you handle that?
Yeah, exactly.
Because taking on interviews on top of your regular job
stressful
is taking on more responsibility. So if you can prove that you can execute on that, it proves some other things down the line for yourself if that person does get hired.
100%. And I agree with something you actually said earlier, that you're not getting the promotion, especially if this is an internal promotion from an SDR to an AE. You're not getting that unless you've built enough internal brand to talk for that. For example, I was actually having this conversation with Sherif outside of the podcast where if two SDRs were at 100%, or like, let's say if one SDR was at 150 and the other one is at 100%, the one who's built their internal brand to be the guy that sticks around after the 9 to 5, who's, let's say, staying around with the guys to go grab drinks at happy hour and building those small nuggets of internal brands. The guy who talks in a little bit more conviction, who's a little bit hungrier, not as sleazy as others, right? Like you're building that personal brand of association, right? Who you're hanging out with, who you're talking to. It's like, oh, I see this guy always early in the office and always late, first to come in and last to leave. Like maybe he's at 110% versus this guy is 150. He clocks in and clocks out and never sees him again. Two different kind of candidates, and that guy will absolutely
for sure
get the role.
For sure.
So, but I think this wraps up this segment. Now, the next segment we're going to be having here is going to be the entertainment segment, which is going to be, we're going to be putting you in a hot seat right now. We're going to start firing rapid questions at you. Some of them are true or false. Some of them are kill or keep. Others are, one-worded answers. Or the one-worded answers are a little bit difficult. So maybe like a sentence.
Okay.
Just one sentence. And then we'd like to see what your answers are. So I have them kind of set up over here on the phone. Or do you have them ready to go?
Let me see.
I got them. All right. So the first segment that we're going to be doing is a this or that.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you two options. You tell me which one you would rather.
Okay.
Top SDR or a proven external AE?
Proven external AE.
Okay. Promote early or wait until they're undeniably ready?
Wait till they're undeniably ready.
Best SDR on the team or most coachable SDR on the team?
Most coachable SDR on the team.
Lose your top SDR to a competitor or promote them before they are ready?
Lose them.
SDR who hits quota and is annoying or SDR who misses quota and is a great teammate?
SDR that hits quota is annoying.
Okay. That's a good one.
That's coachable.
Yeah, you want to ask the number 6 and 10?
No, give me I don't have that.
You don't
set
have the
up.
phone? Okay, how about let me finish that segment
Okay.
and then I'll give you for the whole segment. Promote from within or hire from outside?
Promote within.
1 great AE or 3 average ones?
1 great AE.
SDR who asks for promotion every month or SDR who never asks at all?
SDR that asks.
Fire a bad AE you promoted internally or keep them and manage the damage?
Fire that AE.
Raw talent or consistent process?
Consistent process.
Okay, so this is the this or that segment.
Okay.
Now we're moving on to the agree or disagree.
Okay.
Thank you.
Or you can introduce it and I'll cut
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
So now we're at the agree or disagree segment. Agree or disagree, the best SDR almost never becomes the best AE.
Disagree.
Most SDRs think they are ready way before they actually are.
Agree.
Managers already know who they are going to promote before the conversation even happens.
Agree.
Loyalty to a company means nothing when a headcount is frozen.
Agree.
Most promotions happen because the business needs a body, not because the SDR earned it.
Agree.
An SDR who has never lost a deal has no business being in a closing role.
Say that one again.
An SDR who has never closed a deal has no business being in a closing role.
Disagree.
Uh,
If you have to ask your manager if you are ready when you are not ready. Like, should you ask your manager?
No. I think the question is
Agree or disagree if the AE thinks they're ready or not.
yes.
Like if they have to ask if they're ready.
Yeah.
Or
Then
not.
they're not ready.
They're not ready. So
Okay.
disagree if you have to ask your manager if you're ready or not.
SDR managers set their best people to stay SDRs longer because they cannot afford to lose them.
Disagree.
Skipping the SDR role entirely and going straight to AE is a better path.
Disagree.
Most AE interview processes tell you nothing about whether someone can actually close.
Disagree.
Yeah, because you can
Yeah.
close the interview. Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
Okay. Next segment is going to be overrated or underrated. Activity numbers as a signal of AE readiness. Overrated or underrated?
Underrated.
How an SDR handles rejection as a promotion signal.
Underrated.
Internal advocacy from your manager when going for promotion. Overrated or underrated?
Underrated.
SDR tenure at one company. As overrated or underrated?
The SDR tenure,
Yes.
it can be overrated.
Yeah. Mock closing calls as part of the promotion process. For an SDR.
Underrated.
An SDR sitting in on AE calls.
Underrated.
Self-awareness as an AE skill.
Underrated.
Quota attainment as the main criteria for promotion.
Overrated.
An SDR who builds their own pipeline without being asked.
Underrated.
Patience as a career strategy for SDRs.
Underrated.
All right. Next segment.
I have it.
You have it? Okay.
Yeah. Kill it or keep it. Promotion timelines based on months in the role. Kill it or keep it.
Promotion timeline based on months in the role. Keep it.
Asking SDRs to do a mock discovery call before promoting them. Kill it or keep it.
Keep it.
SDR to AE ratios that cap how many can be promoted. Kill it or keep it.
Kill it.
Managers having full veto power over promotion decisions. Kill it or keep it.
Kill it.
Requiring SDRs to find their own replacement before being promoted.
Kill it.
That's a funny one. Imagine I need to go now.
I need to go find a guy.
Before you get hired, before I promote you,
Yo.
you got somebody for me?
You got someone. And
Now, okay, I do see that if that individual has leadership
Yeah.
competencies and leadership thoughts for future roles,
Yeah.
then of course put that on them. Say, hey, who do you think's going to be able to fill your shoes?
Help me with the interview
Now,
process.
you identified that person or those two people. Can you help me get them ready for? Those are big shoes to fill, man. I'm going to miss you.
That is, I mean,
Right?
honestly,
Help me help you.
that's true. And it builds a lot of character as well. It makes it
It
so
gets
that-
them their first leadership stretch
Yeah.
assignment,
Agreed.
Yeah.
right?
Agreed.
That's going to help you as a manager
Yeah.
make your job easier.
And your
100%.
brand goes up
Way
the
up.
Brand
roof.
goes through the roof. Now you're building your brand with two newer SDRs probably.
Yep.
Your hiring manager. Guess what that hiring manager is going to tell his director what you're doing?
Mm-hmm.
Because that director is going to ask you now, hey, who's filling the gap of the SDR role? Well, don't worry, we got it covered. Right?
Who's
Makes
doing
things
that?
easier as
Yeah.
it goes up the chain.
And you're more justified for that promotion as well.
Exactly.
Nobody's going to go back and say, oh, why did you guys promote him?
You got it.
100%.
It really just all comes down to like, are you willing to put in the extra work when people aren't? Are you willing to
That's-
be like a company man, team player?
That's it. Right? How many things do you do every day that's outside of your regular job description?
A whole bunch.
A dozen every day, right?
Yeah. So what? It's like, I always bring this back. It's like you're running your franchise of a business.
Right. You're going to call somebody to say, I need you to go pick up tomatoes from my
Exactly.
pita shop?
But then
No,
also
you're
gonna
going to
do
go pick
cash-
up those tomatoes for that pita shop.
Exactly. You're going to be doing cashier work,
Right.
procurement work, probably cleaning the grill too. Like,
Yeah.
In any sales role, I've always envisioned a sales professional, and I don't care what you're selling. I don't care if you're selling technology. I don't care if you're selling hard goods, whatever it is. You got to pretend you were driving around a truck that has inventory of what you're selling,
agreed.
and you got to empty it every day, and you own that own business. You own that business. You got to take ownership of that,
100%.
right?
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. So next segment here is one word only, but we're going to make it maybe a one sentence only just because of the fact that like it'll be difficult to come up with just a word for these. What do most SDRs think gets them promoted?
Booking the most qualified demos that equate into the most revenue.
Yeah, that's what they think.
That's what they think.
Yeah. What actually gets them promoted?
Who they are as a person, how they conduct themselves at work, coupled in with their performance.
Okay. What is the fastest way for an SDR to kill their promotion chances?
To kill it, like to
Yeah, no
ruin
way.
it. Expect things too early,
Mhm.
right? If they get a short stint of performance and they think, okay, I'm ready. SDRs that are newer to the company that feel they're entitled to something,
Entitlement. as well.
entitlement. I would say those would be the two big ones.
Yeah.
I just want to ask a follow up to that.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned in one of the other questions that you'd rather have the SDR that asks you every month, when will I
Yep.
get promoted?
Yep.
Over the one that just asks you once. But then here you just said that you feel like they can feel like they're ready before they're not.
Yep.
How do you differentiate between that as a manager?
Great question. I think getting a Slack message or a knock on your office door, every week from the SDR that has no value to you, they're not bringing any value to you. They're asking the same question. Hey, are you hiring yet? Am I ready yet? Like what, how much longer? That's totally different than someone that's coming to you with value. Hey, Matt, I just want to bring up the speed on what we did with this deal. This deal stalled and I was able to get it back on whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Showing that you're doing something differently. Yes, come talk to me. Come ask me every week, but don't just ask for an update. Bring something of value
Valuable.
that you're doing and show it, right? So I think that's the difference.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's a great pointer as
Right?
well, because it's like,
At the end of the day, you're bringing me a problem,
Mhm.
right?
yeah,
When am I getting hired? When am I getting promoted? Like, is the team open yet? Is the role open yet? It's not. It's a like you're creating a problem,
Yeah.
without bringing a solution.
Mhm.
exactly.
So if you want to, and it's not, I don't want viewers to think like talking about a promotion is a problem,
No,
but I think in the element
how
of
you
like,
frame it.
right, in the element of being that SDR that's always in your face, be in the face of that hiring manager, but with value, with substantial things that you're doing to give updates on,
Agreed.
right?
And it's the case.
It's like you calling a prospect.
Yes.
You've done everything in the sales process, right? Everything in the sales process, and the contract is sitting with them, or maybe not even. Maybe it's just the quote, and you're calling them just for an update. Hey, any update? Where's it at?
Yeah.
That's no value. Versus thinking of something maybe more strategic, going back and listening to your gong calls, right? Going to find something unique about this sales cycle that you can do and no other competitor can, and delivering that to them in a friendly, value-added manner.
I found
right?
this and it made me think of you. I wanted
Right.
to share it.
Hey, you know what? I just actually signed up a client that was in the exact same situation as you guys, and they decided to move forward because of X, Y, and Z. right? Or whatever
Exactly.
it is.
And the prospect knows you're doing that for a reason. The same way that the hiring manager knows that you're
Of course.
knocking
But are
his
you going
door
to come
for
off
a
as
reason.
annoying or are you going to come off as value added?
Exactly.
Right?
Because both sides will know the fact that you're doing it with an intrinsic motivation.
You're in sales.
You're in
Yeah.
sales, right? So, but one of them, you're just like, okay, remember me, here's something valuable. Versus the other one is like, it's like those seagulls from Finding Nemo. Where it's just like they're chirping the whole time. It's like,
But I think this can also change too, right? Are you actually finding a business pain and problem that you can truly, genuinely solve? Or are you just trying to get a sale?
Mhm.
And I think a lot of people in tech sales are on the latter where they're just trying to hit their number and they're trying to sell whatever they can to anybody.
yeah,
There's a massive difference between you actually being able to solve a business pain and problem and deliver that solution,
agreed.
right?
Agreed. So, what is one thing SDRs should be doing that most are not?
I think we talked a little bit about it already today. Is like, what are they doing outside of their current job that is getting them prepared and ready to hit the ground running in that promotion job, whether it's AE or whatever it is.
See, so like the personal internal brand.
Right.
Okay.
And work ethic, right? Like you
Mhm.
can be hitting your numbers and doing just what you're supposed to do and put yourself in a good position. But if you want to be in an even greater position, you do more than what's expected of you.
Agreed. Agreed 100%. And what does every SDR who fails as an AE have in common?
They're not ready.
In what way would you say that?
In a bunch of different ways. So it could be closing, right? I think that's the biggest one that I think everybody jumps to right away is like they have no experience closing. Maybe they get promoted and they can't close a deal for the first little while and it's a monkey on their back, right? Outside of that, I think is sales process. I think the SDRs and BDRs in their world have a very, very sound process.
Quick hit of dopamine and they're done.
Right. Then that sales process though is much different than a sales process as an account executive. So when I say not ready, they act in an AE role as they do in a BDR role and it bites them in the butt, right? Okay, great. You booked a demo. That's the easy stuff now,
Done.
right? The work starts now, right? And they're not in that mindset. And if they don't have a process to follow or they choose not to follow that process, that's typically what I see.
I say. And I guess maybe here playing a devil's advocate, and I think maybe this is a question you're already itching to ask, but an SDR cannot develop that sales process or their closing experience being an SDR.
Yep.
So how would they, in a sense, show you that they're ready to be promoted to an account executive? Is it just purely based off of their based off of their forecasted potential and just off of that you're hiring them, or is it just based off something that they've been taking the initiative to do?
What's stopping a BDR and SDR asking an AE that they're close with, that they work with, they feed them demos all day long? What's wrong with asking that AE from a BDR standpoint if they can take a demo?
That is a good idea.
Why not?
Yeah.
We all have demos in our calendar that are like, oh man, I got to take this demo. Low employee count, industry is not really our ICP, no power on the call. Are they really even evaluating? Hey, BDR, SDR, can I take that demo? I booked this for you. Do you mind if I run with this one?
Yeah.
And if I mess this up, you never have to let me do this again.
So I told my manager, like, my objective right now is to be an account executive as quickly as possible. And then one thing I started doing is like, I want you to go in on the meeting and I want you to introduce the prospect to your AE.
Start taking a little bite size of it, right?
And staying on the call. So one thing I started doing was like, guys, if you don't mind, I actually just want to join in the call, introduce you since I'm the one who booked the meeting. And they were kind of like surprised taken away, but I think I got a lot of respect from both of them. Because it's like, okay, this guy wants to learn.
And especially if that AE wants to get into leadership, they're gonna welcome that because now they can almost have you as like their mini project, right? And prove to their leaders that, hey, this person wants to get into leadership, that person wants to get into leadership, and they can each kind of flex, right?
Yeah.
So,
and people love coaching people that are passionate about what they're doing.
People that want to get coached, right? Exactly.
Agreed. Okay, next question is, what does a manager see in the first 30 days that tells them everything?
I go back to like the two keys that make you successful in life, not just work: organization and communication. Are they organized? And when I say organized, I don't mean having bookmarks in their notepad. I mean like having a clean calendar, color-coded, right? Organized with their time. On top of that, do they communicate well? And you and I, and we're all communicating right now, right? But internal communications, right? expectation setting, clearly communicating objectives and needs and wants, asking, speaking up, right? Being a communicator on the team. I think those are the two biggest things, right? So SDRs that I see that don't make it within the first 30 days, they don't know how to communicate effectively. Maybe they've never been trained. Maybe they've never been taught. Maybe they haven't had an ability to learn that skill. Maybe they're so used to how they're organized in their world that when they move into the AE role, organization just blows up.
Adaptability starts showing up.
Right,
Mhm.
right.
Yeah.
So I think no matter what, you have to have those. If you don't have those two strengths naturally, you have to work really hard at them.
Okay.
Right? You think of any successful person in the world, they can probably communicate very well and they manage their time and they're very organized.
100%.
Right.
Everything is called like they stack their tasks on their calendar in terms of
They have
like what-
hold times, whatever it is, right?
Mhm.
They're very strategic on where they spend their time.
yeah,
Right.
100%. And what is the real reason most promotions get delayed? Like a very big culprit for that.
Delayed as in like postponed or like
Like postponed or like
take longer than
take longer
expected.
than
Yeah.
expected.
I think there could be a few different variables in there. I think it could be the candidacy pool as a whole.
Yeah.
If you're hiring for a unique role or a net new headcount, or maybe in a new territory or geographic location, that could take some time finding the right candidate. So that's like on the external side, and then on the internal side, things change, man. Like
yeah, of course.
things are always happening and things are always changing. When you work at a very fast growing company, things change daily, right?
100%.
So direction can change, initiatives can change. So you do have control over those sometimes, but other times you don't.
100%. And there's just so many people that are stakeholders at all times that there's so many conflict of interest. There's so many things that just from a actual business side of things. And it's like not ignoring you as the main character of your own story, but it makes sense for them to be delayed because of, let's say, somebody, if someone leaves this team to that team or vice versa, that there's going to be a break in the system. So that makes a lot of sense.
It's typically a dominoes effect unless it's a net new role.
Exactly.
Right? Something else has to happen for this other thing to happen.
Exactly. What do SDRs underestimate most about the AE role?
I'd say the amount of work that you have to put into every single deal. I don't think SDRs need to, but nor do they have to put as much work into getting to know the client from a deal intelligence standpoint, industry they're in, why they might be exploring, who calls the shots, who's who in the zoo at the company. They're more order takers, right? They have a script, they ask the questions, they qualify and move on. I think as you get into the AE role, you got to put more of a private investigator hat on, right?
Yeah.
And you got to go deep. You got to find out more about this company, right? And I think that's where I think a lot of pitfalls happen from the SDR standpoint. They think, okay, I'm going to follow a checklist and I'm going to get all the answers I need and get position a solution versus getting actually deeper into the real why that client's in front of you.
That makes sense. Perfect. And then the last one out of this segment, which is, what do AEs wish someone had told them before they got promoted?
What's something that AEs wish someone told them?
Yeah, so like an SDR who got promoted to an AE, what would they have wished to know before they got promoted?
That's a good question. I would say it's not easy. I think knowing that, like the AE role, a lot of BDRs, SDRs think, oh, once I make it to the AE role, I've made it.
It's the easiest.
Right? It's not easy.
No.
Right? It's a grind. You're still a frontline employee. You're still the brand and the name of that company that you're working for every day in front of every single client you're on. So you have to be on your game every day. You can't afford to take a day off. You can't afford to drop the ball. Because at the end of the day, if you don't book a demo as an SDR, there's a very good likelihood that someone else will book that client in for a demo. But as an AE, if you go in and you drop the ball in that sales cycle, that competitor or that person's probably going with a competitor.
Yeah.
Right? Just more to lose. So when I say it's not easy, they think getting the AE role, check the box, I've made it. But that's really when the work starts, right? And that's when the grind really starts to get real for them.
100%.
Right? So,
and I agreed. And just to add to that as well, is the fact that you can't take time off comfortably. Of course you can, but you have to think, well, if I take time off at this pivotal moment within that month, then I might not be able to hit my quota.
Yep.
Or something, especially if your quota is on a monthly basis.
Yep.
Then it's like, if I want to take 2 weeks off, it's going to be very, very difficult.
Hey, let's ask a question. Do quotas go on vacation?
No.
Right. So it's important. You have to take vacation.
Yeah.
You need time away. You need to check out. You need time to reset. But what goes back to being able to take vacation confidently as an AE? Are you organized and do you communicate well?
Yeah.
If you're organized enough, you'll be strategic enough to pre-sell your quota.
Correct.
Right? And know that you can go on vacation without any worries about your quota not getting met. And if you communicate correctly, your clients will very well know what your timelines are and when they can buy and when they should buy.
Exactly.
Right? So it's all about being very strategic about that. And I don't want any of the viewers out there to think I'm a sales professional. I got a quote on my head. I can't take vacation. No, you have to take vacation. It's so important that you take time off and reset. But it's all about how you prepare to do that.
Exactly. It's just really, again, organization.
That's it.
And making sure that everything is in the
That's
right
it.
position.
Do I have the right person covering my book? Do I have the right person? Have I communicated to that person what I need them to do when I'm away? Internally and externally, right?
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, last segment. So these are meant to be just like hot takes. Getting promoted internally or leaving for an AE role externally, which one do you think is smarter?
Getting promoted internally.
Your manager likes you, but does not think you're ready. Should you push back or should you just accept it?
I think you should push back, but you should push back in the right way. If you know your keep, you know your worth, and you're confident that you are ready, I think you should push back. And I think gaining clarity on why that manager has that position and that thought is going to enable you to be able to build more value on why you're ready.
You are the top SDR for 2 years and keep getting passed over. Whose fault would it be?
I think it goes into like the reasons why they're getting passed over, but I think at the end of the day, like you hold the key to your destiny, right? So if you keep getting passed over and you know your worth, should you apply again to that role or should you look elsewhere?
No, go get what's yours.
Go get what's yours, man. You should know your worth. And if you ain't getting your worth at where you're at, go get it.
Yeah. It's like we're not always looking out for the organization's interests. Like sometimes it's like, you should look out for your own interests.
You have to.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to. You might just be a number at that company.
Yeah.
But are you a number to yourself?
No.
No.
Exactly.
A brand new SDR outperforms you in month 3. Does that change how you see yourself?
No. I think that's the best part about sales too, right? Remember I was talking in this segment earlier about like how we have the autonomy of sales professionals. You have the autonomy to change what you're doing, try something new, get creative. I think when there's fresh faces in the organization, they bring different value, right? Whether they're fresh out of university, whether they've spent a year at another company or they've had a good career at another company, whatever it is, you can learn something from anybody, right? Whether that's a professional learning or a personal learning. And I think having somebody that's newer beat you in your quota for 3 months in a row, that's when you maybe want to take a step back and say, hey, do I need to get back to basics? What are they doing differently than I am? Am I cutting corners somewhere? What is it, right?
Right.
So I think there's an opportunity for learning there.
It's a reality check in the end of the
Reality
day.
check too, right? Lights a fire under you.
Yeah.
It actually happened to me at work. So I got hired with another person as well. And at Ivy, if there's like one thing I learned from business school is how to use LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And the company that I work at the moment, we have sales now, but they do not believe in LinkedIn. Like belief is only in cold calling, which I understand.
Yeah.
But then in like my first couple months, I kept hitting quota and my manager's like, not many people hit quota. Like, what are you doing?
What are you doing differently?
I was like, I've been using LinkedIn and it was so like naive and like to the people that work there. It's
foreign
like,
to them, right?
Yeah, it was extremely foreign and it took me by surprise because that's all I've taught how to like
For sure.
book coffee
But you're getting the
chats.
best of both worlds. You're DMing them on LinkedIn, following up with a outreach, phone call, and they actually maybe recognize your name or, oh yeah, that Sherif guy, there's a message in my inbox from him, right? So.
And I think the last question. You get the AE promotion and struggle in the first 90 days. Do you tell your manager or try to figure it out alone?
Back to communication, right?
Yeah.
If you can't communicate where you're having troubles, where you're struggling, where you might need help,
It's on you.
it's on you, right? No one's a mind reader. No one's a mind reader. And I think it's important that you communicate. When you're doing well, what's making you successful? Shed that to the rest of the team and your leader, right? When you're not doing well, ask for help, right?
Agreed. And now there's one more segment. So we were able to gather a couple stories about from viewers, from LinkedIn, from Reddit, about people's experiences trying to navigate the whole promotional sphere and
SDR to AE role.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so we just kind of want to run a couple stories by you and just see what your opinion on them are.
Okay.
But first story says, I have been an SDR for 10 months. I am consistently top 3 on the team. My manager told me I need at least 12 months before they will even consider me for a promotion. The 12-month mark is 2 months. There's an AE role open right now at a competitor that I could apply for today. Do I wait or do I go? So he's 2 months away. Then he will be eligible to get promoted internally, or he can get the role right now at a competitor's.
I think patience is key.
Okay.
I think you put a lot of work into your craft at that specific company that has specific processes, procedures,
Correct.
standardizations that you get used to. And that's translatable in that internal promotion path. I think a lot of younger sales professionals now don't have that patience and they want to chase what's next out there. And they leave a lot on the table that they have to go back and relearn now at the new company. So, of course, there's a line to draw in the sand. Don't wait too long. But I think there's an opportunity for more patience in the world.
Agreed.
But on the same token, it's always good to see what else is out there.
Yeah.
Because you should know your worth. And if you know your worth, you know if you're getting what you're worth at your company, or if you seriously need to think, I need to look elsewhere.
100%.
So I think at the end of the day, the way the world's changing, it's always good to know what's out there.
Yeah. So like maybe you can take that role up as take that the interview as a practice for your internal role that you're aiming for. And again, it makes more sense, I would say, for this viewer to end up staying internally because there's less ramp that's needed. You're already talking the lingo, the language, the processes. Like there is literally no point in jumping ship, especially if that role is yours to take in 2 months.
Yeah.
Like sure, you can do the interview for the sake of the interview just to get rep in or when you get into that interview. But
and it's 2 months.
2 months. Like, come on.
That's 60 days, right?
Yeah,
like you got wait it out.
Exactly.
If that 60-day mark happens and it's not there, there should be no promises in this type of thing.
There's
anyway.
no promises ever,
but if you're directed to say and advise, hey, you got a really good chance in 2 months, hold up, wait, I'd highly recommend and advise you do that. You got to be patient.
100%. You have the second viewer's question?
Yeah. So this is the second story. I'm an SDR and I just found out my manager submitted my name for the open AE role without telling me. I did not ask for it. I do not even know if I'm ready. Now I have an internal interview next week. Do I go into it trying to get the job, or do I go honest about where I think I am?
Your manager should have the best interest for you. That being said, no manager should do that, in my opinion. I think back to communication, it's important that everybody's on the same page and you know as much as you can know based on what's happening behind closed doors. That being said, if you're put in that situation because your manager did X, Y, and Z, of course, you go take that interview and you go crush it. You go prepare. You go find out from others what you need to do. You go find out how someone else crushed the interview with that same hiring manager, and you go do it. Whether you get the job or not, you're getting experience that you wouldn't have got yesterday that you're getting today.
Agreed.
Right? So sometimes in life you're tapped on the shoulder. Sometimes in life you got to ask for it. 100%. And this seems in this situation where there was a tap on the shoulder that was not necessarily a tap on the shoulder.
Yeah.
But that should also give you a lot of positivity when you think, hey, my manager did this for me. Like he thinks I'm ready.
Yeah.
But I get it can blindside you. So theoretically, I don't think a manager should do that. But if you are put in that situation, run with it.
Take advantage of it. Why not? Well, why would you not take advantage?
Take advantage of it.
You're an SDR trying to get promoted to an AE and you get
that opportunity is put on your plate.
Even if you're not ready, you'll need to recompensate
Run with
for
it.
that. Yeah, exactly.
Run with it.
Speed up the process of being ready.
That's it. And learn.
Yeah.
You're not gonna. You most likely will bomb that interview.
Yeah.
Right.
But guess what? When you are ready,
you've already been through it once.
You already had a rep.
You know what to expect.
Exactly. So, third viewer question is: I'm an SDR who has been told by 3 different managers at 3 different companies that I have what it takes to be an AE. None of them have ever actually promoted me. I'm starting to wonder if that's just something managers say to keep you motivated. How do I know when someone actually means it?
I think there's a big element of genuineness there.
Yeah.
I think there are a ton of managers that will do that, right? Just to kind of dangle that carrot, as you mentioned earlier on. But for you to actually truly know that you're ready or not, is if that manager's giving you opportunities to prove that you're ready, right? I think
Yes.
that's an important piece.
Is it just flattery, or is this something that is actually a proper compliment? Like they're giving you that right, like they're showing you signs that's behind the, compliments that they're giving you, or is it just what
Right.
would you, yeah, exactly. Because it's like, how else would you know if it's genuine or not? Is if it's number one, if you're actually hitting your numbers and you deserve that praise that you're getting, then
Yep.
that's indicator number one.
Yep.
Indicator number two is like, well, if like you said, they're given signs, not just like, oh, they're letting them have a platform to promote themselves
Yep.
as well and stuff like that. And yeah, I would say in this case, you would only know this because I mean they haven't even given us enough context.
That's what I mean.
Like we don't know your exact situation here to give you what we think, but I guess very vaguely based off that story, we can. That's I guess what we'd say. But anything else you want to add to that, or
No.
Sure.
No.
No, I'm good.
Okay,
I have one that's
It's
interesting.
very
one I think-
situational, right? Like,
very situational.
Yeah. And I think this one is very good to end on.
Okay.
I'm an SDR manager and I have 2 reps who both won the AE spot that just opened up. One has better numbers, the other has better instincts, handles objections well, and thinks like a closer. My VP wants the decision by the end of the week. Do I go with the data or do I go with my gut feeling, and how do I justify my pick?
So he's a manager himself, that
He's
person?
an SDR manager and he has 2
trying to
reps.
decide.
One has better data, the other one he believes has a better chance of becoming a good AE, and his VP wants an opinion by the end of the week. Who should he go for, and how does he justify it?
There's got to be reasons why the person that has not as good of data that's on the table. There's got to be other reasons why.
Yeah, he says that better instincts and handles objections well.
I think there's certain data that applies from BDR and SDR role that can directly translate to the AE role. I'm a big believer of gut instinct, right? That is not always right? I think there's the anecdotes, there's the details, there's the notes, there's the human element to it as well. That's a tough one, but I would probably go with what my gut instinct tells me and not necessarily the data.
And how would you justify you would say like, based on my opinion, this is what I think.
Based on that, how I feel, how I know both these people as well. Factor in all the other variables, right? The communication aspect, the organization aspect. I think we've talked a lot about performance and like provability, which is the data. But that it is not always the tall tale sign, right? So should you promote someone that doesn't have the data? No. But if you're in a situation where there's data on the one that proves this person, but there's instincts on the other one that proves this person.
Correct.
I feel you got to go with what your gut feels.
Exactly.
Right?
And the data also can be skewed really well.
And that's what I meant by the BDR and SDR data.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Because like you can really, if you're smart enough, you can use it to your advantage, right? And if you're not aware of it, you can also use it to your disadvantage, which is maybe what's happened in this case. So maybe look at the exact data that is also going on and understand, okay, yes, this data might look good on paper, but
I think also finding out the delta between the 2 data points. Like obviously the one SDR that has stronger instincts and better objection handling has data, right? There's data with that employee as well.
And is the delta...
But also compare the instincts and the objection handling with the other person. I think putting them both on a very even playing field and doing a task comparison on both, along with your gut instinct, I think would be the best net outcome for that.
Exactly. Because if the delta between both their numbers is worth less than the traits that this person possesses...
Bingo.
You got it.
Bingo.
Okay. Perfect. So I guess...
I want to be considerate of your time. We're almost at 5, but I just want to thank you. I think like this couldn't have gone better than like we would have imagined.
Cool.
Like
Correct.
you're
Yeah, it was a lot
by
of fun.
far like the best first guest we could have had, and it was...
I think you set the standard really high.
Yeah, you set the standard
So
really high.
if anybody...
All the other guests, you just do better than me. That's it. That's it.
No, I'm telling you, if anybody gets like, I don't... Yeah.
No, it's a lot of fun.
A regular for sure. Like
No, it's
we
a lot of fun.
really want to have you again, because I feel like we focus on one aspect of sales, which is like the SDR to AE role, and we learn a bit about your story. But there are so many lessons that I think we can still have you on and learn from.
For sure.
That it would be a pleasure to have you again.
Yeah,
So
it was a lot of
thank
fun.
you so much, Matt.
And thank you guys for doing what you're doing.
Of course, man. And I'll be seeing you tomorrow. So
You got it. You got
so
it.
we'll have our podcast that's not public.
Looking forward to it.
100%. Well, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you,
And
guys.
as I echo everything Sherif said, and we hope to have you a regular on this podcast if you aren't opposed to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Perfect.
cool.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys, and
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.